I had it in my head, but I just never did anything with it until like 2010, 2000, 2011. That's when it was like, all right, let's study entrepreneurship, let's study financial literacy, let's study all this stuff, and then 2011, that's when I started trying to write. And it's crazy, like for me, this whole journalism thing is crazy because I failed English twice in high school. And I taught myself how to write.
Damn.
Like, taught myself how to write. So, whenever you see me bragging about the USA Today, that's that's because I'm like, yo,
that's remarkable.
Y'all don't understand. Like, I failed English. Like, not because I was that wasn't my thing.
Well, that's remarkable, yo.
So I picked up the AP style book, Associated Press style book, and I just read it. I treated it like my Bible.
Nigga, I ain't never failed English. That's my best subject.
I wasn't a good student, bro.
But I'm not a good writer.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I wouldn't say I was a good writer, but I never not passed the shit. But I just don't feel like my writing is up to par with certain people's writers, well, certain people's writing. And it's funny as shit because I'm like, man, then this nigga knows how to write.
Yeah.
Like you convey. My first, and this is a segue, and I'm gonna talk about this later, but my first real dive into what you was doing is when you was writing the articles for the Brunson League.
Yeah, for the Afro.
So when I read it, I'm like, bro, if you know what you're doing, like know how to look at it from a journalistic perspective, this article is so well written, and he did not write it freelance. Like he wrote it in a perspective of an actual writer writing a real article that would be on the Capitol or something.
Yeah,
that's how I looked at it. So
that
the breakdowns, all that shit.
And I wanted to do that because I wanted to bring those worlds together.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, I wanted to bring the street to the actual, journalism world, like because nobody was doing that.
No, for sure.
Like,
and again, not to jump ahead again, but it's like when you make that conscious decision to do Fan Eye and do it from the approach that you do, you're really valuing the journalistic aspect.
Yeah.
Of it. Because we both know nowadays, when with what we came up in and what we were motivated by, is the paper. The papers, early days, like when we looking at the paper and the write-ups and the pictures and all of that, multimedia journalism changed the game.
Definitely, it made it easier.
Way easier.
It made it way easier, and it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a gift and a curse. Like I said, I admire Stuart Scott and those guys.
Yeah.
Like those guys were real journalists. They just had personality. And what they were doing was so innovative at that time that it's basically what you see today.
The norm.
It's the norm. It's kind of like the requirement.
Yep.
You have to have a personality.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to attract attention.
Damn, that's just crazy.
Like for real, like it was that what they were doing then is what's happening now. It's just they weren't getting their positions because of just their personality. It's a lot of people out here in this media space that are just there because of their personality.
Right.
They have no substance whatsoever.
Okay.
Like a lot of them are on TV.
We see it every day.
like people ask me, "Oh, you watch Party?" I don't watch none of it no more. Like, which is crazy because I used to watch ESPN
religiously.
Faithful. Now I don't even. Nope, I'm good.
Nah, for sure.
I'll go read something first before I watch that.
I feel you on that. Or shit, you cover it yourself.
Yeah, cover it myself. Like once I started covering games, it changed. Like a lot of the way I looked at sports changed. It just changed completely.
So let's get back to 2010.
Mm-hmm.
We back to 2010. You met your, girl at the time.
Yeah, I was my girl.
Girl at the time, and that was kind of your motivating factor beyond, obviously outside of other things, but that was one of the extra motivating factors. Where do you take that when you get the decision made with you and your mans? You take that decision, and how long does it take from then to where you really concrete like Fan Eye Sports? Like it's, and how long did it take for? I mean, I'm not gonna say it now. I don't want to say it and jump the gun, but how long was it before you looked around and you were solo?
That's a good question. It didn't really become a like, yo, this is it type of thing until 2015.
What was your original name, if I might ask? Was it always Fan
It
Eye?
was always Fan Eye.
With the group, with all
Yeah.
you guys? Okay.
It was always Fan Eye.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't until 2015. 2015 was the best year because everything was like clicking. It was everything was aligning. But then my son was born. My son was born 4 months early, and that kind of like slowed everything down. And as far as like when it was just me, I kind of like put that on my shoulders myself. You can ask him. Like my man James, who took the pictures, he used to take all the Brunson pictures. You know, he ended up moving down to Virginia, to start a family with his wife. You know, my man Jarrett, he had his 2 boys. He used to write with me. He used to cover games with me. I started telling them like, bro, go handle y'all business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make sure we good. I'm gonna make sure this don't sink. Like y'all go handle that. We gonna be all right. So it wasn't like a situation where, they just stopped. Fuck it, like, oh, nah, yo, we don't want to do it no more. Type. Nah, it was more so of me like, nah, y'all go handle that. Like, you feel me? I need y'all. I need y'all more so as my friends than I need y'all as my coworkers. So I'm not big on that. Yo, the people around you not helping you get rich, you don't need. Nah, I need my niggas just because I need my niggas.
Exactly.
Like money, no money. I need them. Like, so especially in this space. So yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. I just ended up being the only one that stuck with it. It was more so like, yo, y'all gonna handle that. Like, make sure the family's good. And I'll make sure we gonna be good.
Did they join it for you, or that was something that they had in mind too?
I just approached them with it.
You had the idea, and you came to your man.
Yeah, I approached them and James was already taking pictures.
Yeah.
So James was already taking pictures. He's already started like picking the camera up. So once me and him started like going to games and hitting the road, that's when everything started like going up and up and up. Like we was connecting with like everybody you see in the league, Ben Simmons and all them guys. Like we was already around all them guys when he was in high school.
Right.
RJ Hampton, I've been around RJ since he was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it wasn't never a collective we should all do it. It was more so like, yo, y'all want to do this? And they was like, shit, why not?
Your man.
Yeah, and we had fun. Like it was always fun for us. It was never a hassle. Or the only time it became a hassle is when the families got in.
Yeah.
Like when we started having families. Like by 25, all of us had kids. Mm-hmm. So when the kids got involved, that's when it kind of like slowed down for us a little bit. Like I said, I used to not want to do it, but like that time when my son was born, I put Fan Eye down, bro. Like it wasn't really. It what kept me in it is because people would still call and ask, yo, can you do an article? Yo, can you come out and record this? Yo, can you do that? I'm like, all right, like if I'm going to get the opportunity, I ain't going to stop. So the opportunities just always kept coming even when I didn't want them to. So like, yeah, 2015 is when I was like, all right, let's go. Like, and then my son was born. That sidetracked me. I treated it like a part-time hobby. And comparing that to now, this is my job. When people ask me what I do, I'm a journalist. Like, this is what I do. Like, I get paid from this. I get paid when I write. I get paid when I shoot. This is what I do.
Yeah.
So now it's all in. Everything is in the middle of the table.
That's what's up. So, I mean, now that everything is where it is, looking from right now, back then, it's like, are you proud of yourself for keeping that sense of direction? Are you proud of yourself for maintaining and pushing through for that passion?
Hell yeah.
That's 2015 is 7 years ago.
7 years
right
ago.
now. So let alone like in the moment, it's like, man, who knows you coming on through? You had, like you said, you had your son that was born 4 months early. Shout out to King Cody.
Yeah, shout out to King Cody, man.
You had that, and that's real shit, man. Like, that's like real shit, and you go through that, and you got your girl, and you're dealing with that day-to-day stuff with that. A lot of stuff could have sidetracked you.
Yeah, and it did.
Yeah, It happens. It's real shit.
It happened multiple times. Like 2013, fan I wasn't a thing at all. Like,
Yeah.
even though I started in 2012.
Well, yeah.
Like, my grandmother died the year I started
Sorry.
it.
Rest in peace.
You know, when she died, it was like, fuck everything. I'm just
For how long?
a year,
A year straight?
pretty much the whole 2013. Like, I would go to stuff here and there, but I would write a little bit, but nope. Like, I ain't start covering games until what, 2014? Yeah, 2014 was like when I first started. It's just funny.
Nah, man.
Kill was my first interview. Well, supposed to be my first interview.
Right.
So, yeah, I wasn't. It's been plenty of times, yo, where it was like, no, I don't want to do this shit no more. It literally took. It took for me to just really sit down and like look like, yo, you really built something.
Yeah.
Even if it might not be what you wanted to be or what the world wanted to be, because that's another thing. People get caught up in that. Like, they get caught up in trying to. They don't think what they built or what they got is something because the world not telling them that.
I was gonna ask you that.
Like, you know, people need that validation. Me, I just look and just realize, yo, I know a lot of the stuff I'm doing, no one has done. Like,
Do you think about it that way now? And how? Like, at what point did that kick in?
Brunson.
You gonna be on,
Consistent. People see like people notice that.
you
Like,
know what I'm saying?
people notice that and like, and they notice when it's genuine. You know, that's why fan I get the love it get.
Right.
Like, you know, and I ain't even gonna say me. I'm gonna say fan I like. That's why I get the love because it's genuine and it's consistent. I don't change anything. Like, and even if I do give you a little twist, it's still consistent with what the brand has always. What the brand has always been.
Facts.
You know, like Denzel said on American Gangster, it's Pepsi. It's a brand name. Stand behind it. Like, that's like, people forget that. You know, and I think people forget that because they so in the money chase. Like, when you building something and it really means something to you, you know, you gotta build it for more than just the money. Like, you gotta go further than that. You gotta look deeper than that.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
like because that's the only way it's gonna last.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, if you don't care how long it's gonna last, then do whatever.
Man.
Do whatever you gotta do to get a check.
I tell niggas that all the time. That's that same conversation. Like you be doing a lot of shit. Like, yeah, but you be coming in there when you come in there and you see about 6-7 people. I be in that bitch for an hour when I first started this shit talking to myself.
Right.
But it was still getting done.
It was still getting done. You gotta go through that.
But that's the shit that you go through. You feel what I'm saying?
You gotta-
So that's kind of why I was even asking that, because that's now the period of time where you figuring it out until you get your first major project. What was your first major project? Because like you said, your kid might have been your first interview
First
or whatever.
major
But
project?
Not major, but like, what was your first project once you really started and got the camera? When did you get the camera in your hand?
Oh, so Goodman. That was 2016, 17.
Oh, so that was a little bit after the fact.
Yeah,
So you were just writing. And
I was just writing.
straight journalist before.
Straight journalist.
Damn. So even coming into Brunson, you was just writing at first.
I just picked up the
You
camera.
had just picked up. Right. So that's 2016.
It's 2016.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense because that's when we first.
2015 is when. Yeah, 2015.
Okay. So what persuaded you to get the camera in your hand?
I ain't had nobody to film.
You ain't had nobody to film for you, so you like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get the content, write it myself, edit it myself. That's how it kind of happened. And you started at Goodman.
Goodman.
Damn.
Goodman.
What was the first things you remember about them? That beginning time when you first started?
The Goodman League?
Like even no, just like because obviously not the Goodman League. We could talk about the constituents and all that that's in there, but from a journalist perspective, what was the approach to it? Like, how did you go into that? It's like, man, I ain't never did. Have you taken pictures up to that point? Like, was you a photographer at all? Like,
nah.
You just got the camera.
I didn't even have a camera.
You didn't have a camera. You borrowed a camera from your man. Oh, you had your phone. You was on my stilo back then. Yeah. So you had the motherfucking iPhone 6 or 7.
Yeah,
You know what
I had a phone. The first game I filmed was Goodman versus Dykeman.
Damn, out the gate.
That was the first game up New York, up Dykeman.
In New York.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's the first one. Yeah.
That was the first game I filmed, and I did it all on the cell phone, right under the basket.
How'd you feel about that, man?
Looking back at that shit, boy, I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, damn, I really did that. Like
Yeah.
filmed the whole game, made a couple of, and it was when I went, but when I go back and look at it now, I'm like, I had a vision, I just didn't know it yet. Like, cause even if you look at the way I did that, it's very similar to what I do now. Like, probably the same thing, almost. Like, and I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew was I was recording the game, chasing content, you know. Yeah, that was the first time. But when I first started going down Goodman, I was only writing.
Yeah.
And I was writing for the Afro. The Afro actually hit me up and was like, you know, we actually like they seen one of my articles on my page. They was like, yo, you want to, you know, write for us? Like, we'd love to, you know, you go down there once or twice a week and, you know, send us 2 articles a week.
Because you know the Goodman is spread out through days.
Yeah, it's every day. Like I used to go my first year down Goodman. I would go down there like 5 days a week.
Yeah, it's crazy. I never think about it now. It's like crazy. That shit is really
every day.
Yeah.
Like it's literally every day. So yeah, that first year down Goodman, that was 2015, and that was the best year. I got in the paper that year. I did the no fans game with the Orioles. I did that. I was just
that no fans game Oriole article is my favorite article by you, by the way.
Yeah, yo, like it was.
I don't know if you knew that, but I'm gonna tell you that.
That was a moment where I'm like, all right, just stick with it.
Because that's real journalism.
Yeah.
That you was trying to do.
Yeah, it was.
And I recognized it. I'm like, yo, he's like, it's like, cause like we talked about before, it's like niggas with these content and shit. And I really value, and like we talked about before, old school journalism and new media age journalism. That was an old school journalism move that you did with that no fan game. And I'm gonna give you some more praise in a minute. But because there was one more joint that I really fucked with, and a whole situation that I fucked with that kind of like really motivated me for real to kind of like keep going. But I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. So you got the website. You have this whole circumstance now where you're stepping into the journalist field. You got the camera in your hands, 2015, 2016. When did you find out about the Brunson League?
Kill, down Goodman.
Through Kill. And what was your relationship with Kill before? So you met him at the Goodman?
No, we already had like a kind of like the Malcolm situation. We knew each other.
You knew each other?
Yeah.
Community, yeah.
You know, and me and him will always be down to Goodman. And me and him had a conversation one day like, yo, it's crazy, like, man, you both coming down here.
Baltimore.
You know, coming to DC.
Baltimore.
And we're not doing anything in Baltimore. He was like, yo, it's a league. It's called the Brunson. Because I was like, yo, you ever heard of the Brunson League? He was like, yeah, go.
Yeah.
I was like, he was like, I'm like, for real? He like, yeah. He like, bro, I definitely think you should go up there. Like, go up there. Because he wasn't even hooping. He wasn't even hooping.
He wasn't even up there.
He told me to come. Like, if anybody want to know why I stepped in the Brunson, it was Kid told me come up there.
And this before he was even playing?
This before he was even playing.
That's a fact.
He wasn't even playing. Like, he was literally only playing down Goodman. And I went in there. First people I seen. Soon as I walked in the gym, it was Omar. The first play I seen, Omar come down, I already knew who Omar was.
My favorite player.
He come down, pull up, okay. Next play, I'm literally still walking in the gym. Tion get a steal, fast break, dunk. And I just stood right there and I was like, all right. And then I looked around, I'm like, there's no cameras in here. I'm like, perfect. You know, down Goodman, I was, you know, I had Wings. Wings is the main camera guy.
Absolutely.
So
shout out to Wings.
Yeah, shout out to Wings. Wings is the reason why I go on the court. Like,
real nigga.
Like I credit that to Wings all the time. I might be a little better though, but it's like but no, like yeah. Once I went in there and I seen there was no cameras, I was just like, yeah, I'm about to really like.
And where was we at the time? What was Brunson at
Carver.
the time? Carver.
It was at Carver. Yep. Asked Sean. Sean gave me his blessing. He's like, bro, do whatever you want to do.